At some point today, you will look at your hand. Maybe to wash it, maybe to gesture while talking, maybe simply because it is resting in your lap and your eyes drift there. Most people look at their hands dozens of times a day without truly seeing them. But there is a marking that appears on the palms of certain people, not everyone, not even most people, that has been studied, documented, and quietly wondered about across cultures for thousands of years. Dr. Lana Tate, a researcher who has spent years at the intersection of human biology and ancient interpretive traditions, calls the M mark the one palm feature that consistently appears in people with a specific and unusually developed inner quality. There is also a particular reason why the people who carry this mark tend to find out about it from someone else first, rather than noticing it themselves. And that detail, it turns out, says something important about who they are. If quiet evenings of genuine discovery are what bring you here, you're in exactly the right place tonight. What this mark reveals about the people who carry it is more specific and more personally resonant than most accounts of it have yet managed to capture. Not everyone is born with this palm mark. The first thing worth understanding about the M mark is that its relative rarity is not incidental. It is part of what makes it worth examining carefully. The human palm contains a complex network of lines, the heart line, the head line, the lifeline, that form in the womb during fetal development, and are influenced by a combination of genetic factors and the specific conditions of early development. In most people, these three primary lines form independently, running their separate courses across the palm, without converging into a recognizable shape. In a smaller population, estimates vary, but researchers place it somewhere between a quarter and a third of all people. These lines align in a configuration that, when viewed together, forms a distinct letter M. Dr. Lana Tate describes the M formation as a case where the convergence of multiple palm lines creates something that is genuinely more than the sum of its parts. Each of the three lines that contribute to the M carries its own traditional meaning. The heart line relates to emotional life and relationship patterns, the head line to thinking style and decision-making, the lifeline to vitality, and the overall arc of a person's engagement with living. When these three elements align into a single coherent shape, traditional palmistry interprets this not as a simple combination of three meanings, but as an integration, a quality of wholeness between feeling, thinking, and living that the three lines separately do not indicate. The behavior that people who have the M mark most frequently describe when they first become aware of it is a quality of immediate recognition. Not surprise, but the particular feeling of having something named that was already known. They tend not to say, "I never would have guessed that about myself." They tend to say, "I always knew something about how I work was different. I just didn't have a way to describe it." This quality of recognition rather than revelation is one of the more consistent and quietly significant things that Dr. Tate has observed in her research into people who carry this marking. What the letter M actually formed from. Understanding what the M mark is requires understanding the three lines that create it, not as abstract symbols, but as real features of the hand that reflect real developmental processes. The heart line runs horizontally across the upper palm and is associated with the way a person processes emotional experience, how openly they feel, how deeply they attach, how naturally they read the emotional states of others. The head line runs across the middle of the palm and is associated with cognitive style, whether a person thinks linearly or associatively, practically or imaginatively. The lifeline curves around the base of the thumb and relates to the person's fundamental relationship with their own vitality and the physical conditions of their life. When these three lines align to form the M, the configuration requires a specific spatial relationship between them. The heart line and head line must run closely enough together that they appear to join at their inner ends, while the lifeline must begin at a point that completes the central vertical stroke of the letter. This alignment is not random. It reflects a specific pattern of fetal development in which the genetic and environmental factors governing each line's formation produced a particular kind of convergence. In developmental terms, this convergence suggests a nervous system in which the emotional, cognitive, and physical regulatory systems are unusually closely integrated, communicating with each other more fluidly than in the typical hand. The significance of this integration, rather than the symbolic meaning of any single line, is what most popular summaries of the M mark fail to adequately convey. It is not that the M mark means you have a good heart line or your headline is strong. It means that the systems these lines represent developed in an unusually coordinated way. The person with the M mark tends to feel and think and act from a more unified interior than people whose lines run separate courses. Their emotional responses inform their thinking. Their thinking is shaped by their physical experience. Their actions tend to arise from all three systems in closer alignment than is typical. This integration and what it produces in lived experience is the real story of the M mark. A woman named Dorothy had spent her whole life being told she was too sensitive by some people and unusually perceptive by others. She never understood why she seemed to feel things before they happened, or why people frequently confided in her within minutes of meeting her. When her granddaughter noticed the M on her palm and explained what it meant, Dorothy sat quietly for a long moment. That, she finally said, explains quite a lot. She was 83 years old, and she seemed, for the first time, genuinely unsurprised by herself. The trait most M mark holders share quietly. There is a quality that appears with striking consistency in people who carry the M mark. Not the dramatic quality of obvious leadership or conspicuous creativity, but something quieter, and in many respects, more useful. It is the quality of reading a room without being told what is in it, an almost automatic attunement to the emotional undercurrent of a situation that operates below the level of deliberate analysis. M mark holders frequently describe entering a space and knowing, within moments, whether something is off, whether a tension is present, whether a relationship in the room is strained, whether the person speaking is saying something different from what they actually mean. This happens before they have analyzed anything. It happens as immediate perception. Dr. Lana Tate has documented this trait across hundreds of case studies, and the consistency of its appearance in M mark holders is one of the more striking findings in her research. What makes it particularly interesting is not just the trait itself, but its origin in the integrated nervous system that the M formation reflects. The convergence of the emotional and cognitive lines in the palm corresponds, in neurological terms, to a high degree of communication between the brain's emotional processing centers and its analytical centers, where most people process feeling and thinking in relative sequence, feeling something and then thinking about what to feel. M mark holders tend to process them simultaneously, producing a quality of integrated perception that functions faster and more accurately than sequential analysis. The social experience of this trait is one that M mark holders navigate with varying degrees of comfort. Some find it an obvious gift. They are the person their friends call when something needs to be understood rather than simply fixed. The family member whose opinion is sought before any major decision. Others find it a source of quiet exhaustion, absorbing and accurately reading the emotional textures of every room they enter is genuinely costly when there is no understanding of what is happening or why it feels different from other people's experience. Understanding the M mark does not remove the trait, but it tends to change a person's relationship with it, from something inexplicable that happens to them to something that is genuinely theirs. As we go deeper into this video, There is a specific quality of the M mark that appears in certain hands more strongly than others, and it has to do with the depth and clarity of the lines themselves, not just their configuration. And that difference turns out to predict something specific about how the trait is experienced in daily life, why this mark appears more in certain families. One of the more quietly fascinating aspects of the M mark is the degree to which it runs in families. Not in every generation, not in every child of a parent who carries it, but with a frequency that clearly exceeds chance. Families in which one parent has the M mark tend to produce children with it at rates significantly higher than the general population. This familial clustering is not mysterious. It reflects the genetic basis of the palm line formation, which follows the same inheritance patterns as other genetic traits. What is more interesting is what the familial distribution suggests about the underlying quality the mark reflects. It is not acquired through experience. It is carried in the biological inheritance of a specific nervous system type. The inheritance pattern of the M mark also explains something that many families notice but rarely connect to this specific feature. A shared quality of perception that passes through certain family lines, regardless of differences in upbringing, education, or life experience. A grandmother, a daughter, and a granddaughter who all carry the M mark may live entirely different lives, different temperaments, different values, different professional paths. But they tend to share a specific quality of perceptiveness and emotional attunement that family members describe as the way the women in this family see things, or that quality that runs on your father's side. The M mark is not the cause of this quality. It is the visible marker of a nervous system that carries it. The practical implication of this familial dimension is one that people find genuinely moving when they encounter it. Discovering that a parent or grandparent also carried the M mark creates a specific quality of felt connection, a sense of being linked to someone across time through a shared inner quality rather than merely through shared blood. People describe looking at an old photograph of a grandparent they never met and noticing the M on their palm, and experiencing in that moment a form of recognition that is difficult to describe but unmistakable in its emotional weight. The mark is small. What it connects is not. The intuition connection nobody talks about. When the M mark is discussed in popular palmistry, the first qualities typically mentioned are luck and success. The association between the M formation and good fortune in business, in relationships, in life generally. These associations are real in the traditions that developed them, and they are worth understanding. But they tend to obscure the more fundamental quality that underlies them, the one that actually explains why M mark holders sometimes appear to navigate life with an unusual effectiveness. That underlying quality is intuition, not the vague, wishy-washy intuition of popular usage, but the precise, specific kind, the ability to assess situations accurately using information that has not yet been consciously processed. Dr. Lana Tate's research has focused specifically on this intuitive dimension of the M mark, documenting the ways in which the integrated nervous system it reflects produces practical perceptual advantages that show up in daily life as what looks from the outside like unusually good judgment. M mark holders tend to make better decisions under uncertainty than their analytical abilities alone would predict. They tend to assess people's trustworthiness accurately on short acquaintance. They tend to sense when a situation is about to change before external evidence of the change has appeared. These are not mystical abilities. They are the practical outputs of a nervous system that integrates emotional and cognitive data in real time. The reason nobody talks about intuition first when discussing the M mark is that intuition is harder to quantify than luck, and harder to demonstrate than perceptiveness. But in the accounts of people who carry the mark and have paid attention to how it manifests in their lives, Intuition is the quality they return to most consistently as the most accurate description of what they experience. Not just feeling things, M-mark holders often feel things, but knowing things, with a specific quality of confidence that arrives before the reasoning that would justify it. That knowing, when trusted and developed, is what the apparent luck of M-mark holders frequently turns out to be on closer examination. What history's most perceptive people had in common. Across the long history of palmistry, which stretches back through ancient India, through classical Greece, through Renaissance Europe, and through the folk traditions of dozens of cultures that developed independently of each other, the convergence of the major palm lines into a unified mark has been consistently associated with exceptional individuals. Not exceptional in the sense of famous or powerful. The traditions are careful about this distinction. Exceptional in the sense of unusually perceptive, unusually trusted by others, unusually capable of navigating complexity with a quality of judgment that exceeded their formal training or educational background. The M mark was associated not with rank or achievement, but with a specific quality of inner capacity. What the historical record suggests, when examined carefully, is that the people most consistently described in these traditions as carrying the mark were those who served in roles requiring high interpersonal perception: healers, counselors, teachers, diplomats, spiritual guides. These are roles where the ability to accurately read what is actually happening in another person, beneath the surface of what they are saying or presenting, is not merely useful but essential. The mark's historical association with these roles is not evidence that the mark caused the capacity. It is evidence that people across many different traditions, observing the same thing independently, noticed a correlation between the marking and a specific quality of perceptive capacity that made certain people unusually suited to certain kinds of service. The specific historical echo that Dr. Lana Tate finds most illuminating is the consistent emphasis across these traditions on the M mark as a mark of responsibility rather than privilege. It was not understood as a sign that a person would be given good things. It was understood as a sign that a person had been given specific capacities, and that those capacities carried an implicit expectation of use. The traditions that identified the mark also consistently identified the obligation it represented: to use the perceptive quality it indicated in service of something beyond personal advantage. This framing, gift as responsibility rather than entitlement, is one of the more quietly significant things the historical record preserves about what the M mark was understood to mean. 3 things that researchers and experienced palmists consistently note about M mark holders that rarely appear in popular summaries. First, M mark holders tend to be unusually accurate lie detectors, not because they consciously analyze inconsistencies, but because they register incongruence between what is said and what is felt before any analytical process begins. Second, they often describe a lifelong experience of knowing the outcome of a situation before it unfolds. Not always, not with certainty, but with a frequency that they learned early to take seriously. Third, their most reliable decisions tend to be their fastest ones, the ones made before extended analysis had time to introduce doubt into what was initially, quietly, simply known. The emotional sensitivity hiding behind this simple line. There is a quality of emotional sensitivity in M mark holders that is so consistently present and so consistently underestimated by the people who carry it, that it deserves its own careful examination. The word sensitive carries a range of cultural associations, not all of them positive. It implies vulnerability, reactivity, a certain fragility. What M mark holders tend to possess is something quite different. Not fragility, but depth of reception. They receive emotional information from their environment with an accuracy and completeness that others do not. They feel the feeling in the room. They feel the unexpressed feeling of the person sitting across from them. They feel the emotional weight of situations that other people find emotionally neutral. The mechanism behind this depth of reception is again the integrated nervous system that the M formation reflects. The close relationship between the heart line and the head line in the M configuration corresponds to a neural architecture in which emotional processing is not compartmentalized from cognitive processing. Where most people experience emotion and thought as distinct events, first one, then the other, M mark holders tend to experience them as simultaneous and interpenetrating. An emotion, when it arrives, is already being processed cognitively. A thought, when it forms, is already being felt. This interpenetration produces a quality of emotional intelligence that is genuinely unusual, and that tends to make M mark holders unusually effective in situations requiring genuine empathic understanding. The challenge that this sensitivity presents, and it does present challenges, is the difficulty of distinguishing between what belongs to the M mark holder and what belongs to the emotional environment they have absorbed. People with this marking frequently describe a quality of emotional confusion that is specific and consistent. They feel strongly, but they are not always sure whether what they are feeling is their own feeling or something they have absorbed from the people around them. Learning to make this distinction, to sort one's own emotional material from the emotional material of others, tends to be one of the central practical tasks of a life lived with the M mark's particular quality of receptivity. Why M holders often feel things before they happen. There is a phenomenon that M mark holders report with unusual frequency and consistency. The experience of knowing, with a quality of felt certainty, that something is about to happen before any external evidence of it has appeared. A phone rings, and they are unsurprised because they had been thinking of that person seconds before. A conversation shifts in a direction they had already, somehow, prepared for. A sense of unease arrives in the morning, and by afternoon, it has found its object. These experiences are not claimed as supernatural by most of the people who report them. They are described, with a characteristic practical tone, simply as something that happens to them regularly enough to have stopped being remarkable. The neurological basis for this pre-event awareness is increasingly well understood in the research community, even if it remains culturally awkward to discuss directly. The human nervous system processes far more information than reaches conscious awareness: sensory data, social cues, pattern recognitions. And in people with highly integrated emotional cognitive processing, more of this below-threshold information makes it close enough to consciousness to influence felt experience without yet being fully formulated as a thought. What feels like knowing something before it happens is in many cases the accurate processing of real information that has not yet been consciously registered. The intuition arrives first. The explanation, when it comes, confirms what was already felt. What distinguishes this quality in M mark holders from ordinary coincidence or wishful thinking is its consistency and specificity. Everybody occasionally thinks of someone who then calls. M mark holders describe this kind of experience as reliably frequent. Frequent enough that they have learned to take the felt sense of anticipation seriously as genuine information, rather than dismissing it as imagination. The practical application of this quality, learning to trust the pre-event awareness and act from it, rather than waiting for the logical confirmation that often arrives too late to be useful, tends to be one of the more significant developments in the interior life of someone who genuinely understands what their marking is indicating. The leadership quality written into this one mark. The traditional association between the M mark and leadership is one of the oldest and most cross-culturally consistent observations about this feature. But it requires careful unpacking to be genuinely useful, because the leadership it indicates is not the kind most commonly discussed in contemporary contexts. It is not the leadership of organizational authority or hierarchical position. It is the leadership of trusted perception, the quality that makes people turn to a specific individual, not because of their rank or credentials, but because of a felt sense that this person sees clearly and can be trusted to say what they actually see. This is a different kind of leadership, and in many ways, a more fundamental one. The behavioral expression of this leadership quality is something people around M-mark holders notice long before the M-mark holders themselves do. Others frequently turn to them for assessment of situations, of people, of decisions, with a frequency that the M-mark holder tends to find both meaningful and slightly bewildering. Why do people always bring their problems to me? Is one of the most common questions Dr. Lana Tate hears from people with this marking. The answer is not that M-mark holders are simply kind or available, though many are. It is that other people's nervous systems register, at a level below conscious reasoning, the quality of integrated perception that the M-mark reflects, and respond to it with an instinctive trust that bypasses the usual evaluation process. The leadership challenge that the M-mark presents is a specific one: the gap between the perceptive capacity and the expressive confidence to act on it. Many M-mark holders describe a pattern in which they perceive a situation clearly and accurately. They know what is happening, they know what needs to be done, but hesitate to act on their perception because they cannot fully justify it through the sequential logical steps that conventional authority tends to require. They are waiting for the evidence to catch up with what they already know. Learning to trust and act from the integrated perception the M-mark reflects, without waiting for the slower analytical process to authorize what the integrated system has already accurately assessed, tends to be the central developmental challenge and the central growth opportunity in the life of someone who carries this marking. What changes when you finally understand your hand? There is a specific quality of shift that happens when a person encounters an accurate description of something they have always experienced but never had language for. And the shift that occurs when M-mark holders genuinely understand what their marking indicates is one of the more consistently described in Dr. Lana Tate's research. It is not a shift in who they are. Nothing about the person changes. What changes is the interpretive frame through which they understand what they have always been. The experiences that previously felt anomalous, the perceptiveness that seemed excessive, the intuitions that seemed unreliable because they couldn't be explained, the leadership others saw in them that they couldn't fully recognize in themselves, suddenly have a coherent context. The practical consequence of this reframing is significant. People who previously dismissed their intuitive perceptions as imagination begin to treat them as genuine information. People who apologized for their emotional sensitivity begin to recognize it as an asset. People who wondered why they were so consistently called upon to navigate others' emotional situations begin to understand that they are being called upon because they are genuinely equipped, not just because they are available or kind. This shift from apologizing for the trait to understanding and developing it tends to produce measurable changes in how people operate in their relationships, their work, and their daily navigation of the social world. Your hand will look the same tomorrow as it does tonight. The lines will be where they have always been. The M will be present or absent as it has always been, fixed in the patterns established before you were born. What may be different after tonight is not the hand, but the quality of attention brought to it, the quality of recognition extended to what it carries. Dr. Lana Tate often closes her lectures on this subject with a simple observation. The most important thing the M-mark tells you is not something you didn't already know. It is something you have always known, in the quiet and specific way that M-mark holders tend to know things. Before the language arrives, before the confirmation comes, in the particular quality of felt certainty that precedes all the explanations. What tonight may have offered is simply the explanation itself, arriving, as explanations for M-mark holders so often do, not as discovery, but as recognition. Whatever your hand carries, M or no M, what the tradition of palmistry at its most honest level is really pointing toward is the simple and radical suggestion that the person you are is written into you in ways that precede your choices and your history, and that understanding what is written there is among the most useful and most compassionate things you can offer yourself. The mark is a starting point, not a verdict, and what you do with the understanding it offers is, as always, entirely and beautifully yours to determine.